South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa is in America to meet U.S. President Donald Trump this Wednesday. And guess who's with Ramaphosa? Well, it's DA leader turned Minister of Agriculture, John Steenhuisen. This visit comes shortly after the U.S. welcomed 49 white Afrikaners as refugees. They claim that they're under threat in South Africa. I am a journalist from South Africa, currently living in South Korea, and I'm bringing news from South Africa and all over the world. Ramaphosa is also expected to personally invite Trump to attend the G20 summit in Joburg this November. This summit is one that Trump had reportedly threatened to skip. The visit is all about resetting relations between South Africa and the US. The presidency says the aim is to protect South African jobs, grow the economy, and strengthen trade ties, especially because the US is South Africa's biggest trading partner after China. What do you think about this visit? Do you think it's going to go well for Ramaphosa in South Africa, or do you think it's all downhill from here?
Now, the EFF is not as hopeful as the presidency spokesperson. In fact, the party released a statement earlier today saying while it's normal for heads of state to interact on a variety of diplomatic, trade and economic issues of importance, the context of this visit by our president is a clear attempt by President Donald Trump to undermine South Africa and dictate the form and pace of our transformation initiatives. The EFF, in fact, makes a point in that statement that from Trump's recent media briefing, the sole intention of the visit by South Africa would be for our nation's leaders to account regarding a non-existent genocide of Afrikaners in our country. This is what President Trump said in that briefing this week.
South Africa leadership is coming to see me, I understand, sometime next week. And, we're supposed to have I guess a G20 meeting there or something. But we're having a G20 meeting. I don't know how we can go unless that situation's taken care of. But it's a genocide that's taking place that you people don't want to write about. But it's a terrible thing that's taking place. And farmers are being killed. They happen to be white. But whether they're white or black makes no difference to me. But white farmers are being brutally killed, and their land is being confiscated in South Africa. And the newspapers and the media, television media, doesn't even talk about it. If it were the other way around, they'd talk about it. That would be the only story they'd talk about. And I don't care who they are. I don't care about their race, their color. I don't care about their height, their weight. I don't care about anything. I just know that what's happening is terrible. I have people that live in South Africa. They say it's a terrible situation taking place.
There is a problem here. There is a guy called Johan Rupert who controls South Africa, who controls Ramaphosa, Tito Mboweni, Trevor Manuel, Jamnandas Godan. This guy, Rupert, says if we don't stop our nonsense, he's going to leave. I want to call upon South Africans. Let us speed up the process of accompanying Rupert to the airport, because we don't want Rupert in South Africa. That's what we've been saying about these fellows. They are not South Africans. That's why every moment they say, we will leave. Leave to where if you are South African? We, South Africans, whether the times are bad or good, we are South Africans.
How are you? Are you well? I'm looking forward to a really good and positive meeting. And we're looking forward to a really good outcome for our country, for our people, for the jobs in our country, and good trade relations, and to normalize relations between our two countries. What are you doing here?
Good to see you.
Good to see you. Are you well?
Good to see you, Mr. President.
Good to see you.
What are you most looking forward in terms of making a deal with President Trump?
And we get a handshake there?
Yes, you get a handshake.
Yes, Mr. President. And how are you ready for the handshake with Trump? What's going to be your icebreaker?
Well, we're always ready. We're hoping to have really good discussions with President Trump and his fellow government colleagues. I'm looking forward to a really good and positive meeting. And we're looking forward to a very good outcome for our country, for our people, for the jobs in our country, and good trade relations, and to normalize relations between our two countries.
Not let go of sovereignty.
Economic imperative is the most important, yeah.
Well, the trade relations are the most important. That's what has brought us here. We want to come out of the United States with a really good trade deal, investment promotion. We invest in the United States and they invest in us, and we want to strengthen those relations, and we want to consolidate good relations between our two countries. So I'm very positive. I'm looking forward to the discussions
South
we're going
Africa's
to.
sovereignty, Mr. President, lots are concerned that maybe you'll be conceding too much to the likes of Trump, Elon Musk, Starlink. Is that on the table, Mr. President?
Well, we are a sovereign country, and we are a very proud nation, and we preserve our sovereignty, and we will always do what is best for South Africans.
Mr. President, Sidi Matia, long time no see. Mr. President, this meeting also happens when there's a geopolitical shift. America itself is starting to shift as far as Israel is concerned. What are your thoughts about that? South Africa has been lambasted for its position. Now you're seeing a change even this side of the world. Your thoughts about that and how that will influence the conversation?
Well, we are going to have an opportunity to discuss geopolitical issues, not only Israel, but also Ukraine. And so all these matters will be on the table for proper discussion. And we are very rational when it comes to discussing global and geopolitical matters. And we will put South Africa's interests first, and our own foreign policy positions will be well clarified. So fear not. We are going to have
You're not fearing being humiliated, Mr. President, a Zelensky moment. Cyril Ramaphosa, the man, is he prepared?
Well, South Africans are never humiliated, are they? South Africans always go into everything holding their heads high. So we are not...
You, Mr. President.
Me?
Yes. Are you prepared? Cyril Ramaphosa, the individual, the negotiator. Are you talking about golf?
We're going to have a very good meeting.
Better, yours or Donald Trump's? I mean, this could come down to your personal relationship. Donald Trump is known to be a transactional president. He doesn't like to be beaten on the golf course either. Are you ready to navigate those waters?
I also don't like to be beaten on the golf course, so I play golf like he does. So maybe one day we'll have a good round of golf. Okay.
All right, thanks, Mr. President.
South Africans. There's just so many of you around here. How are you, Minister? Very well. Huh? There's so many South Africans here. And there is one of them there, and everywhere else.
Yesterday morning, 5:25 a.m.
So you're better than me.
Alert and ready to go.
Yeah. Hi guys. Hello, how are you? Are you well? Good? Very good.
So I'm extremely disappointed in John Steenhuisen, because my feeling is that he's possibly not capable of realizing how he's being used by the GNU in this trip that's happening in America. The bottom line is that he's going there as a token white person, so that in some way the puppet masters who are taking him there will point to him and say, here he is, listen to his own account of how he is free in South Africa, how he is not restricted in South Africa, how he is not discriminated against in South Africa. All of which are lies we know as white people in South Africa, but to which he will attest because he's a minister who doesn't want to lose the agricultural portfolio. So he is being used. He's happy to be used. He will be used as a token, and they'll point him and say, he's our white guy. And the bottom line is that they're hoping that that will paper over the cracks. And what are the cracks? The cracks are real in South Africa. The African National Congress, COSATU, and the South African Communist Party have been in charge of this country for 31 years. For 31 years, they've been pillaging this country to the extent that literally trillions of rands have been taken out of the economy and pumped into a handful, a select group of individuals who are loyal to the tripartite alliance in a way that has created a black middle class in South Africa, but has not pushed the benefit on to all of those people who voted this tripartite alliance into power in 31 years ago. And so the problem we've got is this, that South Africa is everything that Kali Kriel and that Dirk and that Solidarity and that AfriForum have been complaining about. It has 142 laws on the books which actively discriminate against a particular part of the population, namely 5 million of 70 million people. And those active laws, which are all active, none of which have been discontinued, none of which have been moderated, there is no sunset clause on any of those laws, which are racially inspired laws against 5 million people out of 70 million people in the country, when in fact the majority have rule in this country and have had that rule for 31 years. And yet Steenhuisen is being rolled out on the red carpet to try and impress upon the Americans that these rules don't exist, these laws don't exist, this discrimination doesn't exist in South Africa, and it's a figment of the imagination. But we know better. We know differently. And it's incumbent upon us to say to the American community, support the notion that there is active racism going on in South Africa against the minority population after 31 years of majority rule. How crazy is that? After 31 years of majority rule, we're still having apartheid, we're still having all of the ills of the past thrown at us as a reason for those 142 pieces of legislation which actively discriminate against the white population.
The relationship between South Africa and the United States is one that is mutually beneficial. We have a number of American companies that are based in South Africa that are bringing in a great deal of revenue in South Africa. You have Microsoft and countless others who want this relationship between South Africa and the United States to be further strengthened. So South Africa is not going in this meeting just without any leverage. South Africa has a great deal of leverage, and I think that ultimately it is important for the United States to ensure that it engages with South Africa in a manner that is mutually beneficial and also in a manner that is respectful to the sovereignty of South Africa and certainly South Africa's domestic policies and rule of law.
Yeah, some analysts have been saying that although the focus has been on the so-called Afrikaner refugees and so forth, but there is a deeper issue at play which relates to trade, but more specifically in the mining sector, especially for the United States, considering that you see that South Africa has also this strong relationship between itself as well as China and Chinese companies setting up mining companies here in South Africa as well. Our mining minister is currently our acting president, so he's not part of that delegation. Do you see mining becoming an important element of these discussions as well, to make sure that America is able to assert itself as a mining giant within South Africa and broader Africa as well?
Absolutely. In fact, one of the key priorities for this administration is the mining sector. So again, I say this, South Africa has a great deal of leverage going to the table. And I think South Africa needs to ensure that before it walks in the room with Trump, that there is some kind of deal that South Africa is willing to propose to Mr. Trump. And really don't spend any time discussing the South Africaners' situation, because the reality is that it's a decision that's been made and the South Africans have been lobbying for this since 2016, which brings me to another topic. And the topic is that it is very important for nations to pay attention